Welcome everybody, this is Shadow Child from Tri-Gamer Studios here, and I'm here with a Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile, and today's Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile was just strictly cards from the order of the Spellcaster structure decks that just released. And basically this is to help anybody just starting off with this deck and they just want to build something from these three and then want to work from there to like my video I posted the other day for my competitive build for Endymion spellbooks. So let's go ahead and get into the monster section of the deck. In the deck we run the main boss monster 3 Endymion. Endymion, what he does is while he's in a pendulum scale, he's able to collect spell counters, and you can remove 6 in order to special summon him to the field. While he's on the field, as long as he has a counter on him, he can't be destroyed by card effects, he can't be targeted. Also, once per turn, you can remove a spell counter from a card you control to counter a spell or trap card your opponent plays, and he gets the counters that the card that you popped onto himself. And being a 2800 beat stick, he's just brutal. And his effect, if you have more than one on the field, you can use that ability for each of them. So he's really amazing. Plus he's an 8 scale for pendulums. And he's a spellcaster, which is most of the ones in this deck. He's the main card you're going to want to get on the field in this build of the deck. Next up is probably the best card besides him in the deck, and that's 3 Servant of Endymion. Now while she's in the scale, and she's a scale 2, which is the low scale, which she's the lowest scale in the deck. While she's in there, she gets spell counters. When she gets 3, you remove 3, which you can use Citadel to help with that, which is really good. But when you remove 3, you can summon her to the field and search for any monster that can get a spell counter on it in your deck and place it on the field that has 1,000 or more attack, which means you can grab your boss monster right away. Now, of course, in the upgraded build, you can go get nastier monsters. Of course, you're going to want to run 3 of her, no matter what build it is. And on the field, she can attack directly, which is really good. But her main ability you're going to want to use from the pendulum scale. And she can be used to make Daybreaker or Electromite. Next up, we run 3 copies of Magister of Endymion. Oh, Endymion. And with this one, he's another really amazing one. He's just about as good as Servant. The only thing I don't like that makes him just a little bit less is that his summon from the deck ability is during your opponent's turn. Stu's very amazing, and he's very well utilized, especially if you get him inside your pendulum scale. And when he gets 3 counters, or if you use Citadel, you remove the 3, and you can special summon him along with a face-up extra deck monster to your field. Which is really good. Now then, when he hits the field, every time a spell is activated, he gets a counter as well on the field, which is really amazing. And when you remove 3 during your opponent's turn, you can special summon a creature that can get a spell counter on it from your deck, which means you can drop out Endymion from your deck right away. Super nasty. Of course, you're going to want to run 3 of him. Next up, I don't use this in my main build, but in this version of the build, since you're just using what we got in the deck, you're going to want to run 3 Reflection. He's not a bad side deck card in the main build if you need some more popping, ways to get around different things. But Reflection, he's a low scale too, and he gets counters, of course, in the pendulum scale. You remove 3, and you can do some specialing as well. And then when you move 3 and you bring him to the field just like the others, he can bounce a creature. He's really good. Next up, you're going to want to run 3 Magical Abductors. She's another tutor. You can search through your deck and pull out any pendulum monster while she's in the scale, and you remove 3 counters, which is super easy in the deck. On the field, she can allow you to go grab Droll and Lockbird. Next up, we're running the Spellbook Power in this version of it. I really love using the spell books in here because it gives you a lot of those spell counters and that really good first turn setup, especially just coming out from the build, we want to run 3 of her search for the cards and get some more interaction. Plus, she can be used to make Daybreak. We're running 2 Magical Exemplar. Her ability is really good, where she gets 2 counters while she's on the field. It's a really good normal summon if you didn't hit a blue boy. And you can remove 2 to special summon a creature from your hand. So if you have multiple of your boss monster in your hand, and you don't have ways to get them on the field that turn, she's a really good way to get there if you have the spells, which you should in this deck. Last up for creatures, 3 Droll and Lockbirds, of course. Good for shutting people down. It's an amazing hand trap. In my main, I run Ash Blossoms in the main, and these are on my side. On to our spell package for the deck. We got 3 Spell Power Mastery. Very amazing card. Allows you to search for any of them. Any of your boss main monsters here. Any of them. And also, what really amazing is about it, that if you already have the ones you need from over there, you can also search for Citadel. Really easy. Also, if you have more, it's like second turn, and you had one first turn, second turn, you can also get a counter placed on one of your creatures for using it. It's another way in this deck to get counters on your main boss monsters to make sure that he can't be targeted and destroyed by effects. Next up, of course, we're going to be running 3 Citadels in this build, since we're running the structure deck version. In my upgraded build, I only run 2. You only need 2 in the upgraded version. I run 3 in this build just for more access and make sure I see it. When this is in your field zone, it gets counters every time a spell is activated. And also, you can use counters from this for your creatures instead of using their counters, or also with their counters. Very searchable in the deck. And of course, more searching for that card is 2 Terraforming, which also gives you some spell counters since you're using some spells. Next up, of course, we're going to get to the Spellbook section of the spells. 3 Secrets, search for another spell or search for blue boy. 2 Wisdom, protect your creatures, especially since you're just using the structure deck, so you need all the protection you can get. Throw a 3rd one in your side if you're just starting off. Last up is 1 Spellbook of Power, just to get over things. If you're just playing with the structure deck, put the other 2 in your side. It helps you get over things, and it's just another activation. In this build, of course, we're using the last spell we got in the deck. It's 3 Pot of Desires. You want to make sure you see this. You want to keep that hand filled. You want to keep it going. The 10 cards from your deck doesn't really matter. You have multiples of everything. And you want to keep those spells going. Make sure you get your main boss monster on the field first turn. And make sure you're set up. Or second turn, make sure you stop your opponent from doing anything and lead into other things. It's a must. And of course, the only extra deck monster you have is Daybreak, who's really amazing. He sets you up for your pendulums and whatnot. He also gets counter when he comes out when he's linked. You can use 2 spell counters to pop something, which is really amazing. And if you make multiples of them, you can just keep popping things, especially if you got tons of counters built up on your Citadel. It's really amazing. He's a really amazing card, and there's a lot of power in this deck. You definitely got to upgrade this deck. Keep adding things to it. Take a look at my build for the spell books, and try to do what you want with it. You make it your own flavor. That's what I basically did with it with these spell books. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to see more. See you guys next time.